Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is V and I share content on self-development, lifestyle, global citizenship, and basically how to navigate through life as a young person. Lately, I've been getting messages from different people via emails, LinkedIn, and different platforms on how they can ace their MCW Young Leaders Fellowship application. And yeah, based on popular demand, I am here to share a few tips. And if you see me looking down, I have some stuff scribbled in my phone. So I'll just be reading through a few tips that I feel can help you ace your application. So first of all, a disclaimer. These are just a few tips from me that I feel can help you ace that application that you're about to start or that you've already started. So dive with me on how to ace that application using MCW Young Leaders Fellowship as an example. So let's go right into the video. So my first step would be for you to go through the website. Take for instance MCW, go through mcwglobal.org and find out whatever information you need to know about the organization, because this can help in understanding what you're applying for and also the organization. That way you have an understanding of the programs, of the structure, on the expectations from you. Take for instance MCW, they have eligibility criteria. Some people miss that and end up, venturing into it at the end of the day. They don't get in. So take for instance, MCW is 18 to 26 years old. If you're not turning 26 at the time that application will start, I would advise that you don't even venture into it. Like you don't even start the application entirely, because you may get in through the first stage, second stage. Somehow that could be really draining, like mentally. I'm a mental health advocate. It is mentally draining because at the end of the day you may get filtered out, so you don't want to take those chances, right? So focus on the ones you're eligible for and then venturing. So I'm trying to make this as concise as possible, so I'll just go right into the second tip, which is follow the tips on the website to ace your application. Take for instance websites like MCW Global. They give you, equitable access to how to ace your application. So trust me, all these are very useful to your application. So study it, as this would aid understanding how to structure your application and the kind of applicants they are looking for. Do not take it for granted. Always pay attention to those details under the line. Little things as use the font Times New Roman, like just little details that can count in making your application stand out as well. So my third tip would be share about the history of your community impact and be honest about yourself. So don't go about talking about what you plan to achieve in future alone, but also focus on your past successes, the different projects you've implemented, or the different organizations you've volunteered with. Like make use of stories. Try to be as genuine as possible, because this will help the reviewer relate to your story, relate to your passion, be able to communicate your passion clearly. Don't focus on what you've been planning to do for years, but also talk about the impact of your previous years and make use of numbers as much as possible. That story that you feel is irrelevant to your application might be that one story that will take your application to the next level. So don't underrate it. My fourth tip would be solution focused. So don't just focus on the problem. Yes, there is so much problem in the world. Yes, people know about all this problem. In as much as you're trying to communicate, the intensity of this problem in your community, also be solution focused. Talk about what you plan to achieve. Talk about how you plan to curb these issues. I feel like there are a lot of problems being talked about and solutions being created. So be part of the people that create solutions, to these problems, and don't just add to the problems. Stop quoting like all the solutions that people have proposed and actually state extensively how you plan to curb this issue. So my fifth tip would be niche and target audience. Identify the area you want to create impact in based on your passion and then your history. So let's say it's secondary school students that you're targeting. Then you should be clear enough to state that, okay, I'm targeting secondary school students, and if possible, state the classes. Like in Nigeria, where I'm from, we have like senior secondary and junior secondary. So if it's to create awareness on menstrual health in JS 1, 2, and 3 classes, that is like a really, targeted audience. You've created a niche for yourself instead of saying I'm trying to create awareness to students. Yes, there are different types of students. There are secondary school students, there are university students, there are college students. So which students are you talking about? And another thing I would like to add is, don't just make assumption that the reviewer understands what you're saying, right? Don't say secondary school students, or don't just leave some questions unanswered. That is why it is good to also give people to review, which I will talk about as we proceed. However, try to streamline your target audience and don't give a lot of room for questions, for unanswered questions here. So try to answer questions as much as possible. When you're talking about your project, ask yourself, would this person understand what I'm talking about? Ask yourself all the whys and the when and the where and the how. And then there's another tip that could help you when you're drafting out your project. Keep asking yourself why. Okay, this is the problem that is in the society. So why is this problem there, right? And then keep answering this why question, and I feel like it will give you a better understanding of the problem and also the solution to this problem. My next tip, because I have actually lost count of the tips, would be have a well-defined sustainability plan. So nobody wants to invest in one-off projects, even if they are, different one-off projects. But the sustainability of a project tells how much impact it will create, not just in the current year, but then in years to come. So if you're looking at your project, don't just look at what you plan to achieve now, but also consider the things that you plan to achieve like in the nearest future. A lot of people focus on one-off plans, but one thing about projects is the scalability and sustainability of impact in the long run. You want to create a long-lasting impact that would transcend you onto the next generation. Try to be, future minded. I don't know if that makes sense. Have a long-term vision and mission. Have a clear understanding of this project, your mission, what you plan to achieve. That way you'll be able to communicate in your application. My next tip would be your application and project should be SMART. I'm sure you know the specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. Some people, interchange relevant with, realistic. If this is your first time hearing about the SMART objective, then I would advise that right after this video, you should go onto a search engine and find out what it means and then how that can be applied to your project and gain more insight on how to structure your application better. With the SMART principle, you have the opportunity to answer some really relevant questions that would give you clarity on the project you want to implement and how best you can communicate the implementation of this project to the reviewer. So ensure that your project falls into play. Ensure that you answer the who question. You know that the who question has to do with, your target, the why. I'm not about to go into that because I feel like that will require a different video, but always try to do your research. Remember, my first tip was research, not just about the application, not just about the organization, also research on how to be better. Take for instance, your application is about ending period poverty in girls aged 15 to 17 in Yamoyong community. I just made a statement that can lead to, stating vision, mission, and having a better understanding of the project and target audience. So if you're saying you're ending period poverty in girls aged 15 to 17, you've identified that this is a problem, period poverty, right? I'm sure you've had brief context analysis on it. So also include that. So if you're ending period poverty in girls, we know that, okay, girls, one of the targets, yes, that niche, age 15 to 17 even makes it more streamlined. The more you streamline your target audience, makes it easy to provide the solutions to them. If you're targeting Africa, take for instance, you need to be specific. Okay, so who in Africa? Who are these persons you're targeting? And then ensure that your project aligns with like the SDGs. So if you're talking about period poverty, we obviously know that that is good health and well-being, which is the SDGs 3. If you're talking about decent work and economic growth, you know that that's SDGs 8. If you're talking about like partnering with other organizations, you know that that's SDGs 17. So ensure that you have all these ideas, because this will also help, guiding you towards achieving that goal, that passion you have in your community. All right. My next tip would be get good recommendation from people who can attest to the work you do or the work you've done in the past. So there are some applications that would require you, sharing recommendations from, people. These are people that are in a better position to, talk about your work ethics or your past history that can vouch for you when something goes wrong. That is why it's advisable to use people who you've worked with in the past, or you're currently working with, people who can easily talk about you when called upon. Okay. And my last tip, I suppose, is read, reread, and ensure that your application are true and reflect your value, reflect your true self, reflect your passion, because this is the only way you can prove that this is your idea, you're passionate about this thing, which I suppose is your idea and I suppose is your passion, because I don't expect that you would give your application to someone else to write for you. You can show people your application to, go through, help edit, but in terms of, relaying what is really in your mind, then you need to research more, think deeply. It doesn't matter how long you spend, right? Even if you submit your application like 3 days to the deadline, it really doesn't matter. As long as you get a better insight, you understand what you're doing, you're able to relate in the application. That is all that matters. So don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. As you may or may not know, I'm a mental health advocate for mental well-being and global citizenship. So I am big on not stressing yourself. I am big on taking things one step at a time. In life, you need to have a balance. However, you should ensure that everything is in place before starting your application or before submitting your application. So guys, I have exhausted all the tips I have to share with you, and I hope you found this helpful. And if you know you found this helpful, please let me know in the comment section if you have anything. Trust me, I respond a lot. In fact, I respond better on YouTube than any other platform, I suppose. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and also subscribe. Yes, don't forget to subscribe. You learned a lot now. And I also share other content on, other forms of self-development, lifestyle, global citizenship, leadership, whatnot. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you good luck in your application. If you're applying for the MCW Young Leaders Fellowship, good luck, and I hope you get in and we get acquainted on the alumni group. And for you that have been looking for tips, I hope this helped. I may not be able to respond to all the messages or emails that may come, but with this video, I feel like it will help propel your application to the next level. So thank you for sticking through up until now, and don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and thank you so much, and see you in my next video or vlog.